Hare Krishna. We are continuing with our reading from the Nectar of Devotion. The Nectar of Devotion was written by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and it was published by the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. Today we will read chapter 27, which is entitled Symptoms of Ecstatic Love. The bodily symptoms manifested by a devotee in expressing ecstatic love for Krishna are called anubhava. Practical examples of anubhava are as follows: dancing, rolling on the ground, singing very loudly, stretching the body, crying loudly, yawning, breathing very heavily, neglecting the presence of others, drooling, laughing like a madman, wheeling the head, and belching. When there is an extraordinary excess of ecstatic love, with all of these bodily symptoms manifested, one feels relieved transcendentally. These symptoms are divided into two parts. One is called shita, and the other is called kshepana. When there is yawning, the symptoms are called shita, and when there is dancing, they are called kshepana. First section, dancing. While watching the rasa dance performed by Lord Krishna and the gopis, Lord Shiva beheld the beautiful face of Krishna and immediately began to dance and beat upon his small dindima drum. While Lord Shiva was dancing in ecstasy, his elder son Ganesh joined him. Next section, rolling on the ground. In the third canto, first chapter, verse 32 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Vidura inquires from Uddhava, quote, "My dear friend, is Akrura in an auspicious condition? Not only is he a learned scholar and sinless, but he is also a devotee of Lord Krishna. He has such ecstatic love for Krishna that I have seen him rolling upon Krishna's footprints in the dust as if bereft of all sense." End quote. Similarly, one gopi gave a message to Krishna that Radharani, because of her separation from him and because of her enchantment with the aroma of his flower garlands, was rolling on the ground, thereby bruising her soft body. Next section, singing loudly. One gopi informed Krishna that when Srimati Radharani was singing about his glories, she enchanted all of her friends in such a way that they became stone-like and dull. At the same time, the nearby stones began to melt away in ecstatic love. When Narada Muni was chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, he chanted so loudly that it was apprehended that Lord Nrsimha had appeared. Thus all the demons began to flee in different directions. Next section, stretching the body. It is said that sometimes when Narada, the carrier of the Veena, remembers his Lord Krishna in great ecstasy, he begins to stretch his body so vigorously that his sacred thread gives way. Next section, crying loudly. A gopi once said to Krishna, quote, "My dear son of Nanda Maharaj, by the sound of your flute, Srimati Radharani has become full of lamentation and fear, and thus, with a faltering voice, she is crying like a korari bird." End quote. It is described that by hearing the vibration of Krishna's flute, Lord Shiva becomes very puzzled and begins to cry so loudly into space that the demons become vanquished and the devotees become overwhelmed with joy. Next section, yawning. It is said that when the full moon rises, the lotus petals become expanded. Similarly, when Krishna used to appear before Radharani, her face, which is compared to the lotus flower, would expand by her yawning. Next section, breathing heavily. As far as breathing heavily is concerned, it is stated, quote, "Lalita, one of the gopis, is just like a chataki bird, which only takes water falling directly from the rain cloud and not from any other source." End quote. In this statement, Krishna is compared to the dark cloud, and Lalita is compared to the chakati bird, seeking only Krishna's company. The metaphor continues to say, quote, "As a heavy wind sometimes disperses a mighty cloud, so the heavy breath from Lalita's nostrils caused her to miss Krishna, who had disappeared by the time she recovered herself." End quote. Next section, neglecting the presence of others. As far as neglecting the presence of others is concerned, the wives of the Brahmanas who were performing sacrifices at Vrindavan left home as soon as they heard that Krishna was nearby. They left their homes without caring for their learned husbands. The husbands began to discuss this among themselves. Quote, "How wonderful is the attraction for Krishna, that it has made these women leave us without any care." End quote. This is the influence of Krishna. Anyone who becomes attracted to Krishna can be relieved from the bondage of birth and death, which can be compared to the locked-up homes that were neglected by the wives of the Brahmanas. In the Pajavali, there is a statement by some devotees, quote, "We shall not care for any outsiders. If they should deride us, we shall still not care for them. We shall simply enjoy the transcendental mellow of chanting Hare Krishna, and thus we shall roll on the ground and dance ecstatically. In this way we shall eternally enjoy transcendental bliss." End quote. Next section, drooling. An example of the running down of saliva from the mouth. It is stated that sometimes when Narada Muni was chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, he remained stunned for a while, and saliva oozed from his mouth. Next section, laughing like a madman. When a devotee laughs very loudly like a madman, it is done out of an extraordinary agitation of ecstatic love within the heart. Such mad laughing is an expression of the condition of the heart that is technically called attahasa. When a devotee becomes affected with this mental condition, his love is expressed through the lips. The laughing sounds, coming one after another, are compared to flowers falling from the creeper of devotion that grows within the heart of the devotee. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, devotional service to the Lord is also compared to a creeper that rises up to the lotus feet of Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. Next section, wheeling of the head. One gopi told her friend, quote, "It appears that Lord Krishna, the enemy of the demon Aga, has released from his mouth a whirlwind which is acting on your head and is gradually proceeding to do the same to the other lotus-eyed gopis." End quote. Next section, belching. Sometimes belching also becomes a symptom of ecstatic love for Krishna. There is evidence of this in Purnamasi's address to one crying associate of Radharani. Quote, "My dear daughter, don't be worried because Srimati Radharani is belching. I am about to offer a remedial measure for this symptom. Do not cry so loudly." This belching is not due to indigestion. It is a sign of ecstatic love for Krishna. I shall arrange to cure this belching symptom immediately. Don't be worried. This statement by Purnamasi is evident that ecstatic love for Krishna is sometimes manifested through belching. Sometimes trembling of the whole body and hemorrhaging from some part of the body are also manifested in response to ecstatic love for Krishna. But such symptoms are very rare, and therefore Srila Rupa Goswami does not discuss any further on this point. So this ends the reading of the 27th chapter of the Nectar of Devotion, entitled Symptoms of Ecstatic Love. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.